When I was little, it was just me and my mom. My dad was in my life, just wasn't as present and didn't live with us. I couldn't really spend much time with my mom because she was always working and had a lot of different jobs. Single parenting is a lot of work, since it's one parent taking the role of two parents in a household. Many people have different types of struggles with single parenting. Some may be the time spent, jobs, money, and living arrangements.
When my son was younger, my mom used to help me out a lot. Let me rephrase that. My mom used to help me out when I asked her to help me out because I tend to be a very independent person, and so I try to do everything on my own as much as possible. I felt like, it's my responsibility. Yeah, I think, working and taking care of my child at the same time was pretty challenging. I was a young parent trying to do it on my own. And, I still had the makings of a career, right? So I started pretty early on in my career path. And there is, back then at least, like now, there is more room for flexibility and being able to voice your opinions in the workplace, and there's this change happening. It wasn't like that back then when I was, a young professional, and so I was ripping and running and trying to get to work by 9 and leave by 5:30 to pick my son up in the Bronx by 6, and there's no way I could make it there in 30 minutes. So I was always trying to negotiate how to, have my son stay a little bit later until I could get there. And so that was a bit of a challenge. He didn't go to the neighborhood school, so it was like commuting to drop him off in the morning and commuting to pick him up. And so I was just constantly running all over the place. So that was a bit of a challenge for sure.
Everything that I do with my children is based upon how I was raised. And I was raised from my parents being narcissists. So everything I did with my children, I wanted to make sure that I did not repeat the way I was raised.
Usually parents have one job each, which can really impact single parents, since it's only getting paid half of what you could get as a two-parent household.
I think so earlier in my career, not being able to spend time with my son affected me, and it made me change my career course. So when I started out, I worked at a big public accounting firm, and I could have been on the path to partnership. I could have stayed there for many, many years and became a partner in that type of an industry. But I decided pretty early on that I wasn't going to be able to do that because, I was working like 60 to 70-hour weeks my first 2 years. And then I had my son, and I was like, I can't work this amount of time and still be able to spend time with my son. So I had to, change my career, which actually was for the best. I ended up switching and going in-house and working at HBO, and, long path ended me here.
When you have children, you sit there, when you look at them, you just know automatically that they depend on you. You know what I mean? They don't depend on nobody else. Like, they depend on you as an individual. So everything you have to think about is you. Like, you become that sacrifice. It's either you're going to be selfish or you're going to make that sacrifice. One of the biggest challenges, I would say, was me giving up my dreams, to put that on hold, to sacrifice that, and to putting and allowing my children to go ahead and do their dreams was the biggest challenge. Because right now, being that it took me 2.5 years, maybe almost 3 years, to finish me completing school, it was very hard. Versus at the timing of when I could have done it, it would have been more easier because my brain would have had like absorbed it more easier. So as you get older, like it's very hard to like try to study things hard, you know what I mean, things of that sort.
Being a single parent, right, whether you're a single mom or a single dad, I think you have the same struggles as if you're in a dual family household, except now the full weight is on you. And there is almost a necessity that I lacked of understanding and realizing that you need to ask for help. And a lot of times I didn't, because I was like, this is on me, right? It's my responsibility. It's the impact to my life. And I made these decisions. And so I tried to do a lot of it on my own, even though, you know, I have 4 other siblings that can help. I have my mom that could help. I had so many other people that I could ask for help. And, you know, I tried to do it myself. And so I would say to any single parent, like, if you have a support network, like, use your support network, because people do want to help you and they don't want you to just try to do everything on your own. And actually, sometimes it's also better for your child, because like my son is he's an only child, right? And so having other people who could be a part of his life is really important as well. It helps with like growth and development and building connections with other people. Like, there are things that he clearly doesn't want to talk to me about, but he could talk to one of my sisters about, or he can talk to my brother about, or, you know, my mom or someone else in the family. So it's helpful to have that support system put in place and to take advantage of it.
The single parent experience shows how parents struggle to provide for both them and their child. I hope this gives a perspective on the different lives and struggles each parent has.